let me kick things off here. So everybody, just so you know, anybody who's watching, because I don't know who's watching right now, um, but we haven't had a chance to talk about this, and this is our very first episode. This is pilot season episode 0, and we're doing a one-off here. So bear with us as we work through some of this. But I'm going to hit this just like we would as if we were going live for reals. So hang on just one moment. Welcome to everyone out there. The very first episode of Disputed. I am one of your hosts. I'm Dean, and with me today I have our other host, Damon. Damon, say hi.
Hi.
So, before we really introduce ourselves, let's talk about what this show is about. And you fill in whatever I've left out. So what we are doing is we are bringing a debate battle to everybody out there who has always asked these questions about what if this person fought this person? What if this person did that? Da 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 da. So this is what we're doing with fictional characters. Currently, we are doing them one-off episodes until we are ready to fully do our bracketed tournament, which will be coming sooner than you think, but it will be coming. So Damon and I will be doing the very first couple of episodes of this, and then we're going to get some other folks involved, and we will just be the judges, the ones who are running the show. Would you say that that's what we're doing, Damon?
Yes. I think we'd be moderators would probably be a better word.
Debate moderators, like you see when the talking head politicians go up there and do that. But I think we'll probably be maybe not so polished and a little bit more irreverent, possibly.
Yes.
I think the only limitations we are making currently, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're not doing superheroes.
No, not yet. We haven't figured out how we're how we're going to tackle that one yet.
Right. And animated, we're closer, I think, on that than we are on the superheroes. So currently, we're focusing on live action characters.
Right.
Yeah. So, Damon, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell folks what you're about.
Hi, I am Damon, aka Damon Does, father of 2, husband of 1, and I'm about 5'4". Is that what you're looking for?
That works. So tell folks where they can find you, aside from at Distributed Pod.
And also, basically, at Damon Does, 2 D's in the middle, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And that would be all. And you can also find me anywhere you download podcasts for Damon Does the 6 Questions, and where I talk to creatives and find out what makes them tick, and learn some interesting things about them. And come to find out, I had a guest yesterday. Yeah, I had a guest yesterday that told me that he learned I had interviewed some friends of his, and he had said, I learned some things. I've known these people for years, and I hadn't learned some of these things until I saw your show. So that was kind of cool.
And I'm Dean Giles. I host the How Are You Now podcast about Letterkenny. I host the Podskier podcast, where we interview independent and obscure podcasts and find out what makes them tick. I am the producer, and I bring up a segment called Stupid White People Questions on the Boondocks podcast. And now I'm here as your valiant co-host to my doppelganger Damon, because I am 6'1", and white. He's 5'4" and black. So we're the new twins. So
Yeah.
and also we just didn't have enough D's. So Demond, Dean, disputed. So so that's where we are. So so this is kind of what we'll do as moderators, but as we go through and introduce guests that we have, we will do it similar to this. So what I'll do is I will introduce you as I would a guest, with the bumper music and everything like that, and talk about who you're advocating for. You'll do the same for me. So we'll start. I'm going to have you're going to be guest 1, and I'll be guest 2, I guess. Does that sound good to you?
That works.
All right. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Demond Does from the Demond Does podcast. Why did I say Demond Does? It's Demond from the Demond Does podcast. I will have this all written out when we go ahead. But Demond will be advocating for Luke Skywalker. Demond, how are you today? Are you excited to advocate for Mr. Skywalker?
I am, and I believe the Force will be with me.
Well, I certainly hope so. I've got hopes for you. I put money on you. In the sports book over there, because we're going to be the next big thing. So yeah, welcome to the show, and I'm very excited to hear how you advocate for Luke Skywalker. All right, you ready?
Yes, I am. You may know that from Podcore. Or, heck, how many podcasts do you have, sir? How are you now?
Good, and you?
Boondock, where he helps answer stupid white people questions. Sports fans, debate nerds, give it up for
Oh yeah, brother! I'm bringing the heat today. You know who I've got for me? You know who I'm backing? You know who I'm advocating for today, my friend?
He is advocating for the chosen one, the boy that lived, Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, dude! I have spent all 10 minutes prepping for this. So no, I did a little bit more prep than that. I will say that because there's a lot of stuff about Harry Potter, just as there's a lot of stuff about Luke Skywalker. So I know we've had to do a little bit of research, and we're going to expect the same of every guest that we have. And just so we can give you real quick the layout of how this is going to work. We're going to start with the opening statement from our first guest. In this case will be Demond. Then with a rebuttal from myself. By the way, opening statements will be 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes. The rebuttals will be 2 minutes. After that, we will have host questions for the guests. So in this case, Demond will ask a question of me. I will ask a question of Demond, and we'll go from there. At the end, we will have closing arguments. From there, we will give you instructions on where to go vote. They will be in the show notes. We'll have it on where we're streaming. So it'll be on Facebook. It'll be on YouTube. That's currently where we are right now. We may end up having Twitch. Who knows what else? But that's what we've got right now. So the topic today, Demond, is
who is the better chosen one?
That's right. Harry Potter versus Luke Skywalker. So we're starting with Demond with your opening salvo, I guess, and I'll be running the timer here, and once you hear the alarm go off, you'll know your time is up. So,
or you've got gas.
Or you've got gas. So, Demond, are you ready?
No.
All right.
I prepped as best I could, and I'll apologize to all my former Toastmaster Club member cohorts.
All right. So 5 minutes starting now.
1977 was a banner year for all of nerddom. Not only did we, notice I said we, get Dungeons and Dragons, we also got the next birth of video games with the Atari 2600. And most importantly, at least for this show today, because we may go back to that Atari 2600 thing. That sounds like an interesting idea. Star Wars debuted. And Star Wars is a movie that changed cinema forever. And the focal point of that is the subject of my talk today, the great and incomparable Luke Skywalker. Now, I could talk about all the cool lightsaber fights. I could talk about how he grew up on, my man grew up on a moisture farm on a desert planet. Do you know how hard of a man you have to be to try to farm for water on a planet with not one son, two sons? I got one son at home and I love him. Love you, Joel. Anyway. But it's funny though. It's real funny because Harry Potter and Luke Skywalker have very similar origins. I mean, they both grow up with aunts and uncles. They're aunt and uncles. They both get found by a dude with a white beard to start the story, and they both use magic. Let's not kid ourselves. The Force is nothing. Excuse me. The Force is nothing but space magic. It is cool space magic, but it is space magic. Now let's get on to, man, I got 3 minutes to talk about this. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, let's go with the big one. First of all, my man blew up the very first Death Star. He went from, as in a matter of, a couple weeks, from being on a farm, hanging out with his aunt and uncle, who tragically loses their lives in pursuit of a better story. Next thing you know, within a couple days, he is trapped on the Death Star with his mentor and his newfound buddies, and then a few days later is blowing up said Death Star, having never flown an X-wing. That dude is clutch. He's clutch. Now let's talk about, oh man, is this going to be long enough? F it, we're going to try. I want to also talk about not Luke's courage, because that is in an abundance, which is very clear. Both characters have that. But I want to talk about Luke's intelligence, because in Return of the Jedi, think about this. He comes up with such a, okay, I'm just going to say, all right. So the first thing is, he's like, all right, Leia, I can just see them pounding around trying to rescue Han. It's like, all right, Leia, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go in there with this outfit on. You're going to take Chewbacca and you're going to threaten him with the thermal detonator if Jabba gets live. And then we're going to break him out, right? But I want to make sure, whatever you do not take your helmet off. Do not take your helmet off. Unless you want to wind up being a slave girl running around almost naked. Leave your helmet on. And then after she leaves, like, all right, look, she can't, she's going to want to talk to Han before she leaves. So she's going to end up being naked. So this is what we going to do. I am going to go. I'm going to send you two in there. You know what, C-3PO? Follow R2's lead. All right, R2, you're the only smart one in this group. What we're going to do is we are going to sneak. You guys are going to go in there. I'm going to send you this video. And we're going to tell Jabba that you work for him. And then I'm going to come in later and then use the Force and all that stuff to, do the Jedi mind trick. Hey, he's going to hook it up. We're going to leave. And just in case that don't work, here, you hold at the end of this convoluted plan, you hold my lightsaber. If they try to make us jump into that big old Sarlacc pit, you're gonna shoot my lightsaber. I'm gonna do the little bendy thing. I'm gonna jump off the what do you call that thing? The gangplank, flip up in the air, catch it, and I am cutting fools down. That is intelligence. He had not a plan A, he had a plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D. And that was just to rescue his friend. That is why Luke Skywalker is the better chosen one. And how much time do I have?
You got 10 seconds.
So go ahead. And I feel bad for Harry Potter because after all that, I don't think he's going to be able to hold up, man. But we'll see.
Time is up. All right, so
love the Lord. That's awesome.
let me reset my timer here since I've got to do a new time. So bear with me. How do I do this? Oh yeah, I gotta. There we go. All right. Yeah.
I had to do this on screen because that'd be
Yeah,
really cool.
that's definitely something we're gonna.
gonna.
Okay. All right. So stop. 2 minutes. All right. So starting now. All right. So yeah, you mentioned Luke's intelligence, who at first blush of looking at a lightsaber does what? He holds it up to his eye and looks directly into it. He gets knocked out by sand people, and is left for dead. Basically, his stuff stolen. He's whiny. He's just whiny. Oh, I wanted to go to the space Tossie station for some converters. Come on, man. Grow up. You are 22 years old now. It is time for you to act like a goddamn adult. You are no longer a teenager. You need to wake up and do something with your life. I understand okay, you are living on a desert planet, moisture farming, and you're staying there. You're an adult. You could go do other things. You wanted to go sign up for the with the rebels, and realize that you got to stay and help Uncle Owen. Come on, get off your butt. Go sign up. Make something of yourself. Don't wait for something to happen for you to go do something. That's all I got to say about that.
I almost want to debate you for like 6 months. This is awesome. I love it.
All right. So now let me start. Let me get my paperwork here, and I'm going to start with Harry Potter. And as you're all well aware, Harry Potter is the boy who lived. Why is he the boy who lived? Because at a very young age, he was an infant, basically. He survived the killing curse from the most powerful wizard of all time, Tom Riddle, a.k.a. Lord Voldemort. He was only saved by his mother's sacrifice. She gave herself to save him, which is how he ended up with the scar on his head. At the same time, his father was killed. Same evening, he became an orphan at that point. After this extreme event, Harry was sent by his yet-to-be-known headmaster, Albus Dumbledore, to live with his aunt and uncle and cousin, the Dursleys, and Little Whinging at number 4 Privet Drive. And it was with the Dursleys where he was treated very much like the unwanted orphan that he is. Forced to live in a cupboard under the stairs, Harry was made to clean up after the rest of the family, wear his older and much larger cousins' hand-me-downs, and make the meals. Even though this was incredibly frustrating to young Harry, it taught him a great deal of humility. Also, being the scorn of the Dursleys afforded Harry a great deal of time to himself, where he would expand his mind by reading. At the age of 12, the owls from the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry came calling, and no matter how much Uncle Vernon Dursley tried to keep the letters from Harry, there was no stopping Hagrid, the Hogwarts gamekeeper, from finding the boy and the rest of the Dursleys at an abandoned lighthouse. This is where Harry finds out exactly who and what he is. Harry leaves with Hagrid to begin his magical training at Hogwarts. For the next 6 years, Harry learns all he can about magic. He goes up against trolls, a three-headed dog, a.k.a. Cerberus, named Fluffy, a whomping willow, a giant spider named Aragog, a basilisk, dementors, a werewolf, a dragon, Barty Crouch Jr., Death Eaters, Dolores Umbridge, a house elf, Nagini, Voldemort's pet snake/familiar, not to mention the number of other curses, curse objects, and other foul wizards laying about for him to meet along the way. Not only did he survive all of these encounters, but he did so while his life was being continuously endangered by Lord Voldemort, who, of course, Harry ultimately defeats. Because of all these things, Harry is found to be a capable leader. The Order of the Phoenix, his creation of Dumbledore's army, proves how well he could translate the skills that he had gained throughout his encounters to teach the other young wizards how to deal with the problems ahead. Why does all of this make Harry Potter the better chosen one over Luke Skywalker? Well, Harry learned all of his abilities at 12, whereas Luke learned of them at 22. So he's got a 10-year head start. Harry suffered more hardships living with the Dursleys than Luke did living with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, making him tougher and more self-reliant. Harry also had a large number of teachers and friends who helped guide him along his way to become a proper wizard, whereas Luke had Obi-Wan and Yoda, who only spoke in broken riddles. Harry only got a scar on his head from his nemesis Voldemort. Luke lost his hand to Darth Vader, his father. Harry's friends trust and believe in him. Luke's best friend doesn't even believe in hokey religions and ancient weapons. Harry's knowledge of magic surpasses that of the Jedi, in that he has more charms available, as well as the unforgivable spells, and a myriad of potions. He also has the ability to disapparate at will. At best, Luke can use his Jedi mind tricks to make someone believe something he wants them to believe. After the defeat of Voldemort, Harry becomes the most powerful Auror of his age. He hunted down the rest of the Death Eaters, who remained at large, ultimately becoming the head Auror, helping to maintain peace throughout the wizarding world. Luke, even though he was his franchise chosen one, really had no other competition. Even though Harry suffered through incredibly hard times in his life, beginning as an infant no less, it never deterred him from moving forward. His friendships, intelligence, leadership, and perseverance throughout all of his struggles and adversaries, all of whom which were encountered as a child, make him the best chosen one and should be considered victor in this competition. Thank you. So, sir, let us hear your rebuttal.
You, sir, would have a bad feeling about this. Oh man, as I took my notes and okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go with these as best as I can see them so I can help you understand how Luke is the man. First of all, are we really going to compare Darth Vader with Voldemort? Are we really going to do that? Darth Vader is the iconic villain. That's outside of everything we're talking about. But inside his universe, everybody, not only was everybody afraid of Darth Vader, there was actually somebody more powerful than him. And Luke defeated both of them in the same movie. Well, he outlasted them in the same movie. And how you gonna dog my man losing his hand? How you gonna do that? He lost it in a lightsaber fight, in his first lightsaber fight. Now, if we want to talk about first duels, let's talk about Harry's first duel. What happened there? He got beat by Draco Malfoy. He did get his revenge. I'm gonna give him props for that. But he got that booty handed to him the first time in front of class and everybody. Then he had to holler at the snake. Come on now. Now we're talking about he couldn't get people to believe in him. The most skeptical person in Star Wars is Han Solo. And here's a couple examples on how he did believe in him. And he trusted his friends, and his friends believed in him. Okay, so when he makes the Death Star run, when he makes the first Death Star run, Vader's on his heels in his TIE fighter. Who makes the shot to clear up everything? Hand comes out of nowhere, makes the shot on Vader. Vader goes spinning out, never to be seen in a spaceship again for some reason. And Luke makes the shot. Bam, first shot. Also, we want to talk about ancient religions and hokey sidekicks or whatever it was, because I can't remember the line right now. I probably should have wrote that down. In Han's last appearance, he to believing in the Force, having seen what Luke could do and experienced being around him.
Your time is up, sir. Well done. So now we move on to the host questions, and we start with my question. Let's see. So you would since I'm guest one, you would ask me your question, and I will answer it.
Oh boy. I think I missed. Actually, this is how we know this is section 0 because I was actually confused by this one because I thought we were going to ask give it a break and ask the guests, some things about themselves, like a question about themselves.
Sure.
But
yeah.
So do you want to do that, or do you want to do?
No, we can do that. But I would like to. I do want to do, as we were talking, as I was saying, ask where we may have questions. So we're bringing up things we don't know what our guests are going to say. So
Right.
we may have questions about that. So that's kind of why I put that in. But yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
so what then in this case I will say, what made you pick Luke Skywalker as your to advocate for over Harry Potter?
If you want me to be, there's a couple things. One, they're both great childhood characters that people related to, and Luke Skywalker was that for me, whereas Harry Potter is that for people younger than us. Also, that little behind the scenes, you said you knew more about Harry Potter than Luke Skywalker. So that's probably I was like, well, I know enough about Luke Skywalker, I can handle it. Okay. So I could ask the same question, but I'm not going to because I think I just answered it. So, boy, what can I ask about Harry Potter that I'm? When did you catch? I'm assuming you've read all the books.
I've read most of them and seen the movies, of course, but I have not read all of the books. But I'm familiar with what's different in the books than the movies is, for the most part. But yeah, like the last 2 books I read. So and Deathly Hallows was huge. So
man.
hence 2 movies. So, but yeah, so my that's kind of where I went with that. So as far as let me ask you a question as I would have guessed. So what is your opinion on what it is that makes Luke as powerful as he is?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
So Luke has does have his Jedi abilities, which he learns, but it comes to him pretty easily. And so, what do you think accounts for those powers coming to him as easily as they seem to?
The fictional answer is he's the son of the chosen one, like the actual chosen one in the story, which is Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
That is probably the actual answer, or as best canonical. Thank you. That is that answer. Because they both learned, because Luke learned the Force even later than Anakin did. Anakin was like 8, 9, 10, something like that. He was really young, and he was late. So for Luke to take it on at 22, I thought he was a little bit younger than that, but I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, he was a grown ass man. Which makes him even more special because as an adult, we are just in real life, we're less flexible than we are when we're children, like less mentally flexible, like our imaginations aren't as free, and that could be a whole nother conversation and podcast, to be honest. But it's as a 22-year-old, his and you see it throughout the movies, his beliefs are narrowed, and he doesn't have as broad as imagination as he would. Does that make any sense?
he was raised out in the middle of nowhere and didn't really have a lot of influence on his imagination out there.
Right. Not a lot of input, especially left with basically non-forced parents.
Yeah.
So, as well, they fed him, they clothed him, and I assume they liked him at least enough to keep him around. But yeah, he did. But probably in the long answer, Kevin Hart is probably because in the story needed him to be.
All right. So as my favorite YouTuber Ryan George says, so the movie could happen. So so you have any questions for us? Well, let me at this point I guess I would rebut that in that I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I think as far as knowledge and stuff, I think Harry would have a more difficult time with Vader, and that, like him, also basically an orphan, and at a very young age, learning his skills. So I think that's kind of what puts Harry more on par with someone like Vader, Anakin, and that they learn their skills early, or earlier. I know that the younglings were brought in even as infants.
They don't last long.
Yeah, thanks, Anakin. But yeah, I think it was just the confidence that I think that he had was I found to be kind of lopsided in that how quickly he went from what he was at the beginning of, or even at the end of New Hope to the next movie, where he was kind of more on top of it and had courage, and he just wanted to go balls to the wall. So it made me a little leery of that, which, I mean, and I will admit, as a kid, I was not a huge fan of Star Wars. I did go see them. And I think those three were, I mean, best of the prequels and the ones that have moved forward. That's just my personal opinion. It probably could have something to do with, Alec Guinness and and James Earl Jones, and everybody, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford, all great actors. So I give him props for that. But as far as Luke just kind of seemed very whiny. Had Luke been put in the Harry Potter universe, he kind of reminded me of how whiny Malfoy was. So,
Wow, you call my man Slytherin. Wow, that's rough.
Yeah. So that's yeah. I think he's the only reason Malfoy is evil compared to Luke on the light side is he has an evil father who's taught him to be evil from the beginning, whereas Luke hasn't. Had he been raised by Vader, that would have been he would have been a Malfoy without a doubt.
I honestly can't argue with that. I can't argue with that, to be honest. Yeah. Man, there was something that you mentioned that I was like, how dare you? And I can't remember what it was. Let's see. Boy, I don't remember. I need to write these down fast. I need to write.
It's all great. It's all good. Probably something. Well, you did mention about how Luke lost his hand. Yeah, I know that one kind of got you.
Yeah. Come on now.
Yep.
Actually, I do have something.
Okay.
Okay, so again, gotta give props to Harry for fight all the a lot of these things he got lucky with, to be honest. They got lucky with the troll. Hermione helps him solve almost all the mysteries. But his bugaboo and that he defeat, oh god, what movie was that? Prisoner of Azkaban. were the Dementors, right?
Yeah.
Like they gave it to him. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you right now, Luke Skywalker. This is an underrated. This is an underrated part of the original trilogy. Had Luke Skywalker not had the Force, they would have been eaten by those Ewoks. Ewoks are infinitely more dangerous than the Dementors, and I'm gonna prove it to you.
All right.
There are no apex. It's clear. Watch it. I just watched the end of Return of the Jedi again, just to make sure I had this right. There are no the apex predator. Let me try this again. Every planet that just about every planet they're on, there's like this big monster. It's part monster movie for a little bit, and the Ewoks are the apex predators on Endor. They're fighting guys with guns, with sticks and rocks. And there was tons of them, and they survived. And if they had knowledge of the Force and were not superstitious, because the fire was already lit, they were about that. They were about to have hand kebabs.
Yeah, but they also believed that C-3PO was a god. So
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Had they got lucky with superstition, because in the original they changed the cut. By the way, I didn't realize this until I watched the end today. They actually changed the cut of the Star Wars Return of the Jedi Special Edition. People talk about the cities at the end and all the fireworks and all that stuff. There's something else that's very important missing or changed, and I think they did it because people they realized what they had done. They showed in the original, we're like, whoop, whoa, you know what I'm talking about.
mm-hmm.
There's a part where they're playing drums with stormtrooper helmets, and they took that out. You want to know why? There were no stormtroopers. Where were those stormtroopers? Oh, they were in Ewok bellies. There's a kite. There's a part in the fight scene at the end where there's one of the Ewoks is flying in a glider. I stopped it. It is made of some kind of very large animal hide. It almost looks like a freaking pterodactyl. Ewoks are taking down pterodactyls, man. Infinitely more dangerous than, oh, I'm having bad dreams. I'm having such a bad day. Oh, my mother. Oh, nightmare, leaving nightmare.
Your time is way past. So let me say this. The Dementors are the guards for Azkaban. They watch over the most serious criminals of the magic world. Those are, and the ones that are super powerful. So, they take their wands away. They are all afraid of the Dementors because when they start sucking their souls out, that's torture. So, and they feel that, and it's basically, it puts everyone. And if you look at Sirius Black, even he's got hardcore PTSD because of that. So, it's Dementors are no joke. The only magic that works against them is the Patronus. Now, somehow the Dark Lord or somebody at the Ministry of Magic, who was part of the Death Eaters, got them to come after Harry, and then also Harry Potter. I mean, for being a teenager, basically flying thousands of feet in the air, chasing a little golden ball, which he catches at the same time being chased by a cursed bludger coming at him, and successfully makes it out. So he when he did come up against the Dementors the first time up in the air, he falls thousands of feet. Fortunately, Dumbledore stops, his death. But the amount of strife that he has taken over those his first 13 years of life is immense. I mean, nothing compares. Luke, it's not until, he's an adult, and then, 3 movies. I mean, what do we'll say 4 years in time, maybe 4 or 5. So, it's the things that Harry had to go through, and to come out to be as powerful as he is and as respected as he is, and still go fight against, because once Voldemort's gone, there are still bad guys, so he has to go fight. That's why he becomes the head Auror, so the main guy who goes, and he's like he ends up being the Dirty Harry of the magical world. So that's where I stand with Harry. And yes, he has good friends that help him out along the way, and I think that's that helps him be a good leader.
I should win because Harry becomes a cop.
Well, are all cops in the magical world bastards?
And already we're having a Boondocks crossover.
Oh, where's our Uncle Ruckus?
Well, let me tell you something. You don't say my name. You keep my name out your mouth.
I mean, yeah, we know Uncle Ruckus would pick Harry Potter because, Luke has a black father. So. Am I wrong? That's how Ruckus would see it.
Real talk. You know how pissed I was when I watched Return of the Jedi for the first time, because I didn't know who James Earl Jones was, but his voice is so distinct. Like it's just amazing, and then find out he used to stutter and all. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Look, and I expected his daddy to be white, but oh my goodness, he was damn near transparent. He was whiter. He was whiter than a Clan Riley racquetball tournament. I mean, it was white. But there was something. Oh, one other thing that to me makes Luke better than in grand scheme of things. We're talking 1A, 1B here, but Luke is one. Is 2 things actually. One, I'm not sure. I'm not. Can we spoil? Should we spoil anything, like any fairly recent shows or anything like that? That's actually kind of a.
We could spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. How about that?
Okay, that'll work. We should probably like have a flash on the screen or something when we have a budget. But spoiler alert for The Mandalorian in 3, 2. When I put my hand down, you can stop fast forwarding. All right. Luke Skywalker shows up in the second season of Mandalorian, and the setup is there's these death droids that it took everybody and their mama to try to stop one. Then they release like 20. Luke shows up and wrecks shop. It is one of the most awesome scenes ever, and it just solidifies how awesome he is. Luke Black. So also Harry without his wand, or actually these are world things, but Harry without his wand is basically like my 8-year-old. Luke Skywalker without his magic stick is still handling fools. These are not the George.
Let me rebut that one real quick, because in the book, because I believe, if I remember correctly, in the books, they are taught to do magic without a wand. So I know it works. I mean, because I know that, I mean, even without a wand, Harry can still speak parcel tongue. So so it's not. So he has some magical. They all have some magical abilities that I think the wand basically amplifies things. Is my understanding.
I believe it's a focus. In the movies, if we're going by the movies,
yeah,
because it's been a while since I've read them. The only one that I can think, the only wizard that I can think of that uses magic without a wand is actually Quirrell in the first movie. And also, that's the other thing I was going to ask about. Speaking of Harry, a weird Harry Potter factor. We both wear glasses. Are you nearsighted?
I'm farsighted, actually.
Okay, I couldn't see, without my glasses. I couldn't see this computer screen. So this makes me. So I noticed this almost immediately. You got the gold. The what do you call it? The golden the snitch.
The snitch. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm never like snitches. But anyway.
All right, Riley.
So you got. If I had a Riley impersonation for you everywhere. So he's chasing this golden snitch around, and it's flying around or whatever. My man is nearsighted, or he has corrective lenses for whatever reason. He's got them. So the fact that I always found it funny. I'm like, why did they give the kid with glasses have him be the seeker? None of the other seekers wear glasses.
I find it funny that out of all the ailments that they can treat in the magical world, they don't seem to be wanting to treat eye problems. So
you can treat a broken arm.
Yeah, they can regrow. Yeah, they don't have to put bionics on somebody to give them a new arm, so they can just regrow a bone.
But they can't do magic LASIK.
Yep,
ridiculous.
I guess so. They don't stand out to muggles. But anyway, so let's wrap up our. You have any closing arguments that you would like to provide?
I wish I did.
All right.
I've had way too much fun.
All right. So this is the part where we would have done our closing arguments. I mean, we've gone well over what we would normally have done by this time, but yeah. Real quick. So yeah. Harry Potter, Luke Skywalker. I think it would be an interesting battle to see them to go against each other and see how that turns out. I don't know how it would turn out. If you put them both at the same age, if Luke has to be 15 against Harry Potter, Luke is screwed because he doesn't know anything yet. but I do think that it would be an interesting battle. But in the end, I think they would be friends.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So anyway, what are we doing on our next episode?
We've talked about what did we talk about? We talked about Ethan Hunt versus James Bond.
Oh yeah.
We've talked Indiana. Man, there's a bunch of Indiana Jones ones we can do.
Oh boy. So yeah, real quick, if anybody has suggestions for our one-offs, or even for what we're going to do, you go to our Discord server. So disputedpod.com/links has links to all of our special stuff, where you can find all our where you can find the podcast, or our email address, et cetera, but it also has our Discord. So you could sign up for our Discord, go to because I housed under that is all the Podsecure Network stuff, but there is a disputed section for suggested battles. So if you go in there and light that up, we'll be looking at that because we're making a list and we're going to be doing this for a while, we hope. So also it has links to if you want to buy some of our merch maybe. So
we got some dope shirts, man.
Yeah, we do.
I looked at those designs. I was like, damn, that's tight. I'll be running around in my own merch looking like a mark.
Yeah, and so if you can get the one that just has the D on it and say it's Dean and DeBond. So. But anyway, thanks everybody for listening. And so whatever we're doing on our next episode, we're going to be doing. The plan is to do these every other week. So unless we start becoming famous and we need to do them, all the time. But in any case, yeah. So for our outro, I'm Dean,
and I'm Damon,
and remember, everything is disputed. All right, we'll see you guys very soon. Thanks everybody for joining us today. I want to thank everybody who's listening in right now. Thanks TR for our comment. Thank you, Damon, for bringing this wonderful idea to the fore so that we could make this happen. I also want to thank our musical artists that we've used in this episode. Hard Fight by Tigirigus, Fight Club by Evil Bear Boris, Fight Makes Right by Atake, and This Party Sucks by Done With Fish. All of them can be found on freemusicarchive.org. We'll see you next time. And don't forget, everything is disputed.